Hey, GLP-1 plus size community. Before we jump into the podcast, please take the time to leave us a 5-star review on whatever audio platform you're listening to the podcast on. Share your story and how the podcast has helped you. This will help us get referred up in the audio platform so that we can reach more people that need our help, our support, and guidance from our doctors. Help us get loud and change things.
Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.
Want the fastest working GLP-1? For half the price, Ro now offers FDA-approved weight loss injections cheaper, with results you can see faster. Lose 15% of your weight with the formula from Eli Lilly that hits not one, but 2 hormones to curb hunger and nausea. Weight loss faster, confidence higher, price cheaper. See if you qualify at ro.co/TV.
Welcome to the Plus Sides podcast. Hey, Kat.
What's up, Kim?
How you doing?
I'm all right.
I like your shirt. It has our logo on it.
Make GLP-1s affordable.
I like it.
I have my first cup of coffee today, and it's I find my lack of caffeine disturbing because
It's very odd, but I also like that your coffee mug, for those that are not watching, is Darth
it's
Vader.
Darth Vader.
It's cute. It's cute.
It's,
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna talk today. So everybody says your banter's too long. We can't help it. Kat and I have been friends for 14 years.
We've gotten very good at it, and we
really
appreciate your feedback.
We do.
Speaking of feedback,
Yes.
we need stars. We need stars and reviews.
We do.
We need
If you're
stars
watching this right now, we need thumbs up and comments. And if you are listening to this right now, go and figure out with ChatGPT how to leave us a 5-star review, because I know it ain't easy. And we need it because that's what helps us move up. And we get, which is great, because then we can help more people. Think
For the
about how many
cause.
people are out there that have no idea that they're not alone and no idea that it's not their fault. So help us with that, would you?
Yeah,
All right.
because Darth Vader finds your lack of reviews disturbing.
Yeah, we need more reviews. So we'll do our quick intros, and this is your cue if you're already a regular to fast forward. Okay? So you don't have to
We
listen
make
to
them
it.
fast though. So
Yeah, ready? Okay. So I'm Kim. This is the Plus Sides podcast, and our podcast is for people who struggle with metabolic disease. And we talk about everything from GLP-1 medications, which is how we started, obesity, PCOS, perimenopause, our latest episode. We talk about, man, we're going to have government talks on here and problems with the food. And we got some big guests coming up. So we are really trying to get loud and change things. That's our focus. I've been on a GLP-1 for almost 3 years now. I've been on all of them. And I have lost 110 pounds. And then when I hit perimenopause, I gained 10. And then I've been kind of bouncing around. And I actually think that was interesting, because I was like, oh, you can gain some weight on these meds, even if you're on it for like maintenance. And I also learned you may not get to your goal weight on these meds. You may need more help, which actually is the truth for most people. And we're going to talk about that tonight. Yes. So Kat, tell me who you are, what you're doing, why you're here. What's up?
Hey, I'm Kat Carter. Hey. Hey, I've been on the Mounjaro since
Mounjaro.
22. Yeah, 2022. So it's been
Mhm.
almost 3 years. Um, I always say that no amount of working out, crash dieting, and all that crap that I've done all my life can stop insulin resistance. So I love to work out. I love to get sweaty. And now it's wonderful
Yeah.
that I can get sweaty and kind of look like I get sweaty. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Get
And
sweaty.
I love it. I mean, this show is definitely gonna be talking about kind of beyond the scale and
Mhm.
beyond the fore and afters, and, we have
Mhm.
a special guest today. I'm
We're
so excited.
excited.
We
We're
are.
excited.
I have 2 special guests. But if you guys follow her on TikTok or on Instagram, on YouTube too, I don't know.
We'll
You have to
find
know.
out.
We'll find out. But we have Mrs. Clark on, and so we're gonna invite her
Hey,
in, and
Mrs.
she's going to
Clark.
share her community story, and then we'll go from there like usual. Hey, Mrs. Clark.
Hi,
And
I'm
we
so
love your
happy to be
hair.
here. Thank
Your hair.
you. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Kim, for
Yay.
inviting me on. I'm so excited about being here. Thank you for giving
Yes.
me the opportunity to speak to you two about this. And, I'm still kind of trying to wade in the water a little
Yeah.
bit to figure this out. So it's been
I
an
did. I
experience,
get it.
but so far it's been a wonderful one for
Yeah.
me.
I get it.
For
I
me.
get the whole wading in the water part. I did
Yeah.
that a lot. Yeah. Until I
It's
found
a
out
lot to
Jim was
figure
on
out.
it. Or
Still
Tim was on it.
trying to figure it out. And I thought being a nurse, I had
Mhm.
kind of a shorthand with this stuff, and
Yeah.
I know nothing
Yeah.
about it. It's a day to day. We'll wake up. How are we going to do today? What are we
Yeah.
Yeah.
navigating today?
Yeah.
But knock on wood,
Yeah.
That's what I
my
do.
experience my experience has been great.
Yeah.
I tell people when they ask me about this, it's like I don't know if either one of you are mothers, but
Mhm.
when I got pregnant,
Mhm.
everyone felt compelled to tell me their horror story,
Yes.
and just how they almost died on the table and they almost lost their child.
Yes.
Everyone I feel has felt compelled to tell me about their horror story with
Really?
GLP-1.
Wow.
I
And
get it. Yes.
and
Yes.
and my
Or
experience,
somebody else's story.
my all five of my pregnancies, labors, and
Mhm.
deliveries were wonderful. I
Yeah.
strutted around like a peacock.
Oh my
I
god.
did.
Ah.
You could not tell me anything. I was the most beautiful pregnant woman that had ever walked the earth. And my deliveries were wonderful. Nothing crazy, nothing scary. I had heartburn with my boys and morning sickness with my girl, and that was it. But it was great. My experience so far on GLP-1
Mhm.
has been great. I
That's good.
have not experienced any of the nastiness that people,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
others have experienced and felt compelled to share with me. That would scare anyone.
Yes.
Which
But
one are you
I've done
taking?
great. I've done great.
That's
Which one are you
awesome.
taking, by the
I'm on
way?
tirzepatide.
Okay.
And
That's
that's one that I chose. I chose to go through Ellie MD,
Mhm.
and they're a 503A pharmacy.
Mhm.
So, with everything going on, it's prescribed specifically for me. I
Mhm.
have B12 with mine,
Mhm.
Yep.
and I felt wonderful. I've just now been bumped up to 12.5 milligrams.
Yes, ma'am.
And, I don't know if I'm going to stay on it.
Yeah, how you feeling?
Well, I feel great, but
Mhm.
this is where it completely knocked out all of the food noise for
Yeah.
me. And for someone who has never experienced food noise, they're like, well, what's that like?
Yeah.
And the only way that I could describe it was, if you celebrate Christmas, it's the night before when Santa Claus is coming. When you're about to go on your first date and you get the butterflies and you're so excited and you're just like, I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to eat. you
Yeah.
know, and you're constantly thinking about it. Being Southern,
Mhm.
food is what we do. When we're grieving, we eat. When we're
Yeah.
happy, we eat. We celebrate, we eat. Everything we do is around the table.
Mhm.
And so that became, I went through, I've shared, I don't know, I know Kim, you followed me. Kat, if you
I
haven't,
I
She does.
I've
follow you.
been I've been very well, thank you both. I've been very transparent
Mhm.
about my mental health, about things that led up to a nervous breakdown. Mine was anxiety eating, you know.
Mhm.
It's not so much
Dreadful.
bored. The can we speak freely on this
Yeah,
or
all things.
Of
No,
censored?
course.
yeah.
It's about to hit
There's
the
nothing
yeah.
on, like, we're on
Okay.
Apple and all the things, you can say whatever.
So, well, shit's about to hit the fan. I need a nibble, you
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
And
Yeah.
for that food noise to be gone,
Mhm.
it was amazing. It was really quiet.
Yes.
And
And it happened right away with you, right? I think I
it
remember
did.
seeing the video,
It
like, you were,
did
like, on 2
within
point
the first week.
Yeah.
Of course, I lost 20 pounds my first month,
Yeah.
but I
Oh,
had
impressive.
inflammation.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
stomach was huge. And a lot of people, or a lot of my followers, I have found, um, they want to kind of go by my experience and
Yeah.
go by what they have seen with me. And I
Mm.
try to explain to them and be as gentle as possible. My body is different
Yep.
than your body. My insulin resistance
Mhm.
is different than your insulin resistance. My amount of inflammation, the process that I had going on in my body, don't judge my
Mhm.
progress
Yeah,
by yours. We are different bodies.
absolutely.
And I've kind of been able to talk people away from the edge with that.
Mhm.
They're like, "Well, I'm just not going to do it anymore. You lost 20 pounds in a month."
Yeah.
I haven't done that
Mhm.
since then. It's been
Yeah.
slow, it's been steady,
Mhm.
and here we
Absolutely.
are. I'm
Here we are.
60 pounds lighter.
60 pounds. How many months have you been on it?
Uh, 5.5 months.
5 and a
That's
half
great.
months.
That's
That's
great.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. It's been right at about a little under 10 pounds. After the
Yeah.
first month, a little under 10 pounds a month, and I'm okay with that. I'm keeping my
Yeah.
hair, but
Yeah.
I'm getting my protein in.
Good.
I'm taking my collagen, and I don't do any fancy collagen.
Yeah.
I just do Ollie collagen gummy rings.
Mhm.
You know, not
Oh,
sponsored.
Yeah.
That's just doesn't want it.
that's all you need.
It doesn't make me vomit.
I get it. Yeah.
You know?
So it's like a gummy, like you chew it?
Yeah, it's like a peach ring. Ollie.
Okay.
2 a day, that's
Oh,
it.
Ollie, peach rings.
Fantastic. Ooh,
My
that's what I
husband's
like the
favorite
idea.
candy.
I'm a gummy girl. I like gummies. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
all about a gummy. I got real backed up, and, I think it's interesting because, like, we learned on this journey, I think it was from Dr. Ogle, by the way, that a lot of times your thirst and hunger signals get confused, which is one of
Yeah,
the reasons it's so easy to get
right.
dehydrated on this, and then if you get dehydrated, you get constipated.
Well, and on another note,
Mhm,
what I used to tell a lot of my patients is
mhm.
that, you need to hydrate yourself because dehydration will mask itself as hunger. You may think you're hungry,
Yeah.
but you
Indeed.
are dehydrated. And if you're insulin resistant
Yep.
and you're not doing anything, you're going to be snacking all the time when your body really, really needs to be hydrated. I
Yeah.
used to tell all of my patients, and I tell my followers now, your urine needs to be very, very pale yellow to clear. If
Yeah.
there's any concentration to it, if you're not on a medication or a vitamin that's
Mhm.
going to change the appearance of your urine, you need to drink more water.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so true. I always know when I'm behind when that happens too, or when my son goes, "Why don't boys flush the toilet?" Side note.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
know. I'll see it, but I'm also kind
That's
of
so
thinking part is
gross.
I'm like, "You're regular and your pee's clear."
Yeah.
Speaking of your background as a nurse, I would love to hear sort of like why you decided to become a nurse, what kind you are, like in terms of like, I would love
Yeah.
to understand that. How in the world did you get on TikTok and get a
Well,
million
okay.
plus followers? Like, how
I
did that
just
happen?
I love your
nursing,
stories, and
nursing.
those
I
stories that
didn't
you run to people, and they just they can just talk about your weight like it's just the
honey,
weather. They
honey,
think
this is
it's okay. Yeah, I love those stories that you tell.
there are and sometimes clap back just a little bit when
Mhm.
I'm human, I'm
Yeah,
not
I get
perfect.
it.
I'm
I
just
get
trying
it.
to navigate this every day. I've been a nurse going on 30 years, and nursing wasn't anything that I really wanted to do. Half of my family, they're medical, the other half are musicians. I wanted to
I
be
get it.
a singer.
Mm.
My mother saw the lifestyle that my father had. He was gone 300 days out of the year. He was a country music musician, singer, and songwriter.
Yeah.
And he was not a great, he was a good man,
Mm,
but he was not a great husband.
mm,
And between the women and the drugs,
mhm.
mom did not want that for me. So anything she could do to discourage what I wanted to do in music, she was going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, up until right
I
out
get it.
sabotage, right out sabotage. Tell me she's going to be somewhere and not show up or not take me.
Mm,
So I didn't want to be a nurse, but I just happened to be really good at it.
yeah.
I am not a great bedside nurse. I treat them and street them. That's why I did mostly ER.
Mm,
That's it. I'm not a fluff and puff kind of nurse.
yeah.
You know, I,
That made me tick. My sister is a
yeah,
DNP, in pediatric oncology. When you
yeah,
said, "When
God
I
bless
treat
her.
them and
That's what I
treat
mean.
them
That's
and
what we
street 'em,"
say. Treat them and street them.
Yeah.
because it's like it's is it like, these are task patients instead of getting to know
Yes,
them
sir.
and
These
yeah,
are emergency department,
yeah,
ER.
treat
That's
them and
that's
street
it. I don't have the patience to
Yeah.
do,
bedside.
it takes
Right?
all kinds.
Mhm.
I found my tribe when I got pulled to the ER. I was
Yeah.
working on a telemetry unit, and I got pulled that first time, and I'm like, I'm not ever going back. I have
Yeah.
found my people. Nursing during COVID it
Oh,
sucked.
I bet.
It sucked. We went from being heroes to zeros in 2.2.
Yeah.
When you are given a mask, and your PPE is one patient, one use, one time,
Mhm.
and they give you a little brown paper bag and one N95 mask and say that's yours for the week.
Yeah.
But
Dang.
the family members became so litigious.
Yeah.
We're going to sue you. You're doing this, you're doing that.
Mhm.
I couldn't do it
Yeah.
anymore. And so I would go back into a supply closet and be like, let me tell you about these fuckers.
Mhm.
I'm sick of this today. Let me tell you what happened here.
Yeah.
And I started actually talking on TikTok. I created the TikTok. I'd heard about it and heard about it. Created a TikTok and wanted to talk about my nervous breakdown and talk
Yeah.
about mental health. Well, everybody's talking about I mean, they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to follow that. Well, I just stopped trying to tell people
Mhm.
about this is what I found. This is, all the things you do when you think you're going to make it big on TikTok. And I just started being real and telling people about my life, the good,
Yeah.
the bad, and the ugly. And for those who want to follow or start some social media, if I could
Mhm.
give two pieces of advice,
Yeah.
one is be consistent
Mhm.
and be authentic. Your
Right.
tribe will find you. And something about me resonated with,
People.
over 1 million
Yeah.
people. And I decided early that I needed to diversify when I figured out, hey, this could
Yeah.
be a living. And I saw a
Yeah.
way out of nursing for
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
amen.
And that's what I wanted to do. And in July, it'll be 2 years that I've been retired from nursing and
Wow.
doing
That's
content
amazing.
creation full time.
Wow. I
That's
I
great.
I went and did it full time for a while, and then TikTok Shop hit the crapper, and then I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, I'm going back to work now."
Yeah. Well, you have to, when I say you
Yeah.
have to diversify,
Yeah.
I did not want to be in a position, and I've shared this with my followers because
Mhm.
they're like, oh, it's not a real job. It's not.
Yes, it
I
is.
beg to differ.
It
I
is
beg to
too.
differ.
Yes.
And
It's work.
I kept a log in 2023
Mhm.
of everything that I made every month
Yeah.
on TikTok Shop, and I showed it, or just TikTok as
Yeah.
far as the not only shop, Judy blue jeans. That's
Yeah.
what blew it
That
out
was
of the
the hot
water
thing.
Judy
Yes,
Blues.
ma'am.
for
I
me.
love my Judy Blue.
I sold the world out of Judy
So
blue
did
jeans.
Kim.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did too.
So
No, I mean, I didn't sell as much as like Lori, our friend Lori from our community. Lori was like the Judy Blue queen. She's like the literally one that was like, here's how you talk about jeans. Like I learned that from her.
millions of dollars worth of Judy blue jeans.
Wow.
What I
And
Because they
sold.
are the best.
they are great.
Nobody
So
can
And
convince me that they're
Kim's
not.
son called them duty blues.
Judy Blues.
Judy
Yeah, I
blues.
was like watching all the new ones and I was scrolling on
Yeah.
TikTok and he goes, Mom, I don't want to watch any more stuff about duty blues. And I was like, too
Well,
bad.
I noticed that people started commenting at
Mhm.
240 pounds, but I didn't know that I was 240
I get
pounds.
that. Yeah.
The last time I looked at the scale, I was 210 pounds.
Wow.
And then I just kind of shut down.
Yeah, sure. I think we all gone through that.
And
Yeah.
then everyone started asking me, "What are you wearing?" Because I can find
Oh,
things
yeah.
for
You can.
plus size women. And it doesn't look like something that was on our grandmother's sofa.
Mhm.
And I started telling people about it,
Yeah.
and people commented on my glasses. They commented on what I was wearing. I had a couple of people reach out to me,
Mhm.
and when I started making the money,
Mhm.
I made a Facebook, I did an Instagram,
Mhm.
and I started taking the same videos that I did on TikTok
Mhm.
and just posting them.
Yeah.
And then people started following, and then I discovered ManyChat and started
Oh, yeah.
automating, and that's got me to where I
Yeah.
am.
Mini chat's the best. I wish we could do that on TikTok. I haven't figured out how
Yeah,
to.
right,
Yeah. Yeah,
right.
and YouTube. Like they need to figure out how to make that work because that could be like a game changer for everyone.
Well,
I'm sure it'll come.
I knew that if anything happened to TikTok,
Mhm.
I did not want that to be, oh God, I've got to go back and do
Yeah.
something that I
I want to
despise.
do. Yeah.
I'm grateful for my nursing education. I'm grateful that I had the opportunity
Yeah.
to help people, but it's not what
Yeah.
I love. I
Yeah. I
was
get that.
great at it, but it's not what I love. So I knew early on, and maybe that's my 50 years of wisdom.
Mhm.
It's like, I don't want to put all of my eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
So let's build a following over here. And it's worked
Absolutely.
for me.
Yep. I follow you over there too. Yeah.
Oh,
Are you on
Freedom,
YouTube too?
freedom.
If you're not on YouTube, get on YouTube.
I am, but
Okay.
I
Good.
really don't know how to,
Let me
you
go.
know,
Yeah.
that's one that I haven't done
Yeah.
yet.
We are. I would say I'll help you, but I don't know if we do it very well. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's because like YouTube, Google owns YouTube, so it's like
Yeah,
that just like SEO piece has just been like really good, I
mhm.
think. But I've seen a lot of people go over to like Substack and stuff like that with all the changes with
I don't know what
TikTok
that
stuff.
is.
I
I
don't
don't
either.
know what
It's like
Substack
a
is.
Substack's
Like a
like a
news, it's kind of
newslettery kind
newsy
of. Yeah,
sort of
more newsy, I
platform.
think. I don't know. There are a
Um,
lot of people that do stuff. There are people that like to write and do blogs and things like that. But you do like to
mm,
write. You're a good poet. Yeah.
thank you.
So you might
Thank
like
you.
that actually. You might want to play around with that. But
Oh,
I don't know if I mean there are plenty of people that monetize and stuff over there, but I don't know enough about it. I don't have time. I
yeah.
have one. I just don't. I'm kind of like you with YouTube. I'm like,
Well, I tell you, as far as Meta goes, and a
mhm,
lot of people they have some strong feelings about Meta, and I
mhm.
I understand that.
I get it. Yeah.
But as far as paying out,
Hmm.
my reels and my post
Yeah.
make great money
Interesting.
over there.
Great.
They
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
they pay out over there. They
That's
do.
cool. See, I don't know how to even do that. I don't know how to do that yet. I'm
Reach
not big enough
We
over
should
there. I only
chat
have
with
like
Mrs. Clark.
13,000 followers. I don't. It's not very big.
Yes, what? Ma'am, cat.
Bam, cat.
Ma'am,
What did
cat.
you say?
Then we got to chat with Mrs. Clark after
Yeah, we
this,
do.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm happy to help. No one taught me.
Yeah.
There are people that acquaintances
Mhm,
that I have made within the TikTok
mhm,
universe
mhm,
that will do what we do
Mhm.
and charge people for
Mhm.
it. I can't do that.
I
No
get
one
Yeah.
no one taught me. I mean, if that's how you want to get your
Yeah.
bag. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
But if someone asks me,
Yeah.
how do you do that? I'm going to tell you. Maybe
Yeah.
you'll have an easier time than I did. Try to
Yeah.
be 52 years old and figure out all the
Ma'am.
keywords.
I
Yeah.
mean, you
Hashtag, you
understand.
saw me a minute ago. What's this? What am I doing?
But you totally figured it out. We got it, which is great. And I think that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we help each other and,
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
yeah.
Yeah. I think Kat and I, we're always trying to figure out like how to reach more people, how to help more people with the podcast because like people that follow the podcast, they got to be a specific kind of people. One, they got to be on GLP-1s,
Yeah.
right? Two, there I go with the point again. Two, they got to really want to dig in deep with the stuff. Like people
Yeah.
who are like, what is happening? Like those people are like, I have to know everything. What is happening? Because like when that food noise turns off, and that's how I was like when my food noise turned off, and I've been struggling with this my whole life, right? I was like, I have to know everything, and then I have to tell everyone. And that's why the podcast exists because Kat and I are friends, and I was like, you want to do this thing? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's why we brought on the doctors. That's why we bring on people to tell their stories. I would love to know, like, because I know you built this following, and I feel like when you started, like, you must have seen like some of the older. I mean, I've been here since the beginning, but I know they're much bigger creators than me, and even some of our shop friends, right?
Yeah.
Are they when they were doing these shots on camera, like back in 2022, right, or
Yeah.
2023, like
Can't
what were
do
you
that
thinking?
anymore.
Today's episode is brought to you by Ro, a telehealth platform that's changing the game of GLP-1 access. What sets Ro apart? Ro understands the challenges of navigating insurance hurdles and the skyrocketing prices of GLP-1 medications. That's why they specialize in getting insurance approvals for GLP-1s. And if insurance is a barrier, they go a step further by prescribing brand name zepbound vials for prices close to those of compound GLP-1s. With Ro, you're not just getting a prescription, you're getting a partner in your journey that's helping you access affordable treatment and guiding you every step of the way. Whether it's insurance approvals or cost effective alternatives, Ro is here to make sure that you get the medication you need. Visit ro.co/plus sides with a Z today to see how they can help you take control of your weight management journey with affordable, accessible care. That's ro.co/plus sides with a Z, making healthcare work for you. Check out the link in our show notes for more details. Like, when
Right.
you saw that.
Well, I was not a fan of the shot
Sure.
in the beginning. And
Yeah.
I was like, you people are doing it. This is exactly my thought. You people are doing it. It's going to come right back.
Yeah.
And you're taking the easy way out. This is how sanctimonious I was. It took me
Good
years to put it
word.
on. It will take me years to take it off.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it slow. I'm going to do it the right way.
Yes.
And then in December of 24, I
Mhm.
went to visit and watch my granddaughters. And
Mhm.
I had noticed that when I played with them, that it was hard for me to get up off the floor. It was hard for me to do this. And I hadn't been on the scale in years,
Yeah.
years.
I understand that.
Me too.
And my son and daughter-in-law, I was helping one of my granddaughters in the bathroom, and there was a scale in there.
You
And
just
I thought, well, I'm gonna do it. And I got on the scale and I wept.
Oh.
I understand that.
It was 239.4. Now, when I say that, I realize that my starting weight is someone's goal right
Sure.
now.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
I don't want to be like, God, 239.4. I don't want to make anyone feel bad
No.
for
I
that.
understand. We are all built different. We all have
Um,
different makeups.
Yes.
and I was really sad. I was heartbroken, and my husband wanted to do something to make me feel better, and he wanted to take me out to eat.
Of course. That's what we do in
Well,
this.
I have no gallbladder, so I have to be really careful with what I eat. And we went to a little mom and pop place, and I ate my feelings, and then my stomach went, "Ooh." I said, "Oh no."
Dang it.
So I said, "Excuse me, honey," and I ran to the bathroom
Yeah.
and I sat down, and it was a very, very close stall.
Yeah. Oh,
And I went to clean myself
yeah.
and I couldn't clean myself.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
It was so small that I could not. I'm sorry, I get emotional.
No, it's okay. We all have
I
things.
could not wipe my own butt.
Yeah.
And not only did I leave dirty,
Mhm.
I left embarrassed.
Yeah.
I was ashamed. I was humiliated. And I came home and I got in the shower and I stayed in that hot shower and I scrubbed and I scrubbed and I scrubbed and I stayed there until the water ran cold.
Mhm.
And I said, I'll be damned. Enough.
Enough.
I'm not going to do this anymore. So I reached out to one of my very dear friends. Her name is Christy, and I said, "It's time. Tell me what you know." And she's been on a couple. She said tirzepatide was her gem.
Mhm.
I was probably 6 months away from having to go and use a CPAP.
Mhm.
I'm borderline, hypertensive,
Mhm.
borderline diabetic, all of the things. And as a nurse, I mean, I could tell what was going on with my
Sure.
body.
Yeah.
I was having horrible palpitations. I wasn't sleeping at night. And I did my research and I found that I would go with Ellie MD. And
Mhm.
I'm not, I do promote them on other
Yeah, sure.
platforms, but I'm not saying you guys go and do it. I
Yeah.
did my due diligence.
Yeah.
And that's what I encourage everyone to do, your
Mhm.
due diligence. And I ordered the shots and I went back to my followers and
Yeah.
said, listen, I felt like I was transparent with them, but people left.
Yeah.
And I got my first shot and I sat there for about 10 minutes. I was shaking because I had all of the noise in my head. People telling me you're going to end up with gastroparesis. Well, I drink enough water. I do what I'm supposed to do. I get my fiber. Let's talk about this. And all of my critical thinking kind of went out the window. Things that I know versus things that I was unsure about.
Yeah.
And it took me probably 15 minutes to give myself that first shot. And I just sat there and I wept.
Yeah.
Within 48 hours, it was gone.
The
Man.
And
glory
then
of
I wept again because I'm like, I'm free.
yeah.
I'm free. In that first week, I saw 5 pounds. And then I got a little more encouraged and I was drinking my water and I got up and I started, I tried to get my protein and it calmed everything down enough. I could make smarter food choices.
Yes.
It wasn't about, and I am not on a diet. I
Mhm.
eat whatever I want,
Yeah, sure.
whenever I want,
Yeah.
but it's in moderation. If
Yeah.
I want a piece of chocolate, okay, I'll get a Hershey bar and I'll break off a section.
Yeah.
That's enough. If
Yeah.
I want a dessert, I'll eat it. I may share it with my husband.
Mhm.
My taste buds have changed. There are some
Mhm.
things that just don't taste good
Right.
anymore.
It's mostly prepackaged stuff, right?
Right. Well, yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
taste good anymore? Yeah.
There are some weird things like reheating food for me
Really?
kind of grosses me out. It's weird.
I bet it gets better. Okay.
Textures, textures. I'm
Mhm.
texture sensitive now.
Interesting.
Smells. My palate has changed.
Mm.
Things don't taste the way that they did before, in a
Yeah.
good way and in a bad way.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Um, but it was like I had been freed.
Yeah.
That's the only way. And so I am exercising.
Mhm.
I make sure to get my protein. The one thing that I really did do, what I messed up on, is I was using my protein drinks as a meal replacement instead of a supplement.
Mhm.
And I got sick. There was a week that I
Yeah.
got really,
Yeah.
really sick. And
Like,
I'm
feel
just like,
nauseous?
yeah, and I got dizzy and I felt like my blood sugar was dropping and I started having palpitations and then that made it more anxious and
Yeah.
my ER things going on and I'm thinking I'm going into SVT. I need to call EMS. Somebody needs to
Yeah.
give me some adenosine right now because I'm sure that I am running about 190.
Yeah.
And I talked to another nurse friend of mine.
Mhm.
She was like, okay, well, don't drink the cafe latte.
Mhm.
because the cafe latte has 90 grams of caffeine
Oh
in
my
it.
goodness.
The cafe latte protein?
Protein shake.
Yes, the
Yeah.
the,
The
the
Premier one?
Premier
Yeah.
protein has 90 grams of caffeine.
That's a
A
I
lot.
used to
red
put that
Coke,
in my coffee, in my
one
profie.
one
That's probably
one
why I
Coke,
killed my spin classes when I drank that. Ooh.
one one regular Coke, one regular canned Coke has
Mhm.
35 milligrams,
Whoa.
Yeah, 'cause
35 grams.
they said it was, like, as much caffeine as a cup of coffee, but I was like, "Not
It
me."
has,
My
well, I drank 2 of them, so
Oh,
it was
wow.
like drinking
Yeah,
a
I
six
can't do
pack.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
That'll
it
make
was
anybody
bad.
Babies
run off
jumping
in
out
just
the
in 10
walls.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, I was really paranoid.
Yeah. I
I knew
bet.
that was it was about to happen.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it's like I for sure have had certain weeks on the meds where I was like, what have I done? You know what I mean? But for the most part, I just realize it's usually because of what I've chosen to eat, right?
Right,
Or not eat. Also important. Gotta eat.
right.
You
You
gotta
have
eat.
to eat.
Yeah.
I've also noticed that I lose more weight. The more that I
Oh,
eat during the week,
mhm.
the more weight
We're
I
gonna talk about
lose.
why that is today.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we
yeah,
Yeah.
can understand. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that I learned in a stall because I went
Mhm.
to a conference for
Definitely.
LE&D and they asked me to speak, and I was
Oh,
honored to do that for the social media aspect of it.
Yes,
yeah, I
ma'am.
get that. Yeah.
And so I was honored to do that. But in talking to, or not talking to, the uh, clinical pharmacist who was there and the
Mhm.
medical director,
Mhm.
that it's not that your GLP is not working.
Mhm.
It's just maybe it's doing exactly what it needs to do and you need to trick it.
Mhm.
And so when you start eating more food, and I understand that it's kind of hard, it kind of
Mhm.
amps up that GLP-1 again and it will start working.
Mm.
I was, that was something. Now, I've not done my due diligence on that. I don't know if that's true. I haven't come to a
That's really
stall
interesting.
Yeah,
yet
because you
so
haven't
far.
had a stall yet. Yeah. And they happen and they're normal. And I would say out of all the questions we get, the biggest question we get really is how do I break a stall? And
Yeah.
that's what people ask. So we're definitely going to talk about that today. I want to invite in our special doctor guest because we like to be able to understand why these things are happening, right? Because I really believe, and I kind of came to this. I like therapy. I think it's good. I waited way too late in life to start it. But in therapy, I was talking with my doctor about all this, and she was like, um, why do you or she was asking about my miscarriages.
Yeah.
And I was talking about my couple miscarriages and when I got pregnant with my miracle baby, my son, that I was telling her, I was like, I really struggled with that. I don't even know how we came around to the subject. She was just like, we never talked about it. And she was like, well, why? And I said, well, I just was always afraid I was going to lose him, you know? And I had no idea. And I was obese and I just, you know what I mean? And I knew that this was the last time I was going to try. And honestly, he was kind of a surprise anyway. And I remember I told her, I was like, my best friend was a nurse and she was pregnant and about would be delivering her son because our sons are 6 months apart.
Mhm.
And when she was pregnant, I would text her all the things I was feeling, and she would explain to me what that feeling was, like medically. She's
Yeah.
like, actually, that's this hormone. It's making your bones more limber, right, so that you'll be able to grow the baby. If you're feeling that, it's this, and it brought me such peace
Mhm.
that I could actually enjoy the pregnancy once I kinda got past that first trimester,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm,
Because I
mhm.
understood what was going on in my body, and I
Mhm.
understood how to ask for what I needed. And that empowerment made all the difference. And so when this happened, I don't think I realized that's what I was doing when I was like, I need to know everything and I need to tell everyone with the podcast.
Mhm.
I was like, if we can understand what's happening in our bodies, why these medicines work, then we will be able to ask for what we need and deserve and are worthy of, right, in terms of care. And so that's why we do this. And so I'm so glad that you're here and telling your story to be a part of it. Let's fight in Dr. Ogle so that we can have that piece of the episode. Okay. Hello, Dr. Ogle. Welcome back to the Plus Sides.
Hi, Kim. Thanks for having
We
me.
are so
Right
glad to
in.
have you. We thought we would just jump right in. Let's talk about a little bit about who you are and how you help people.
Yeah, so my name is Dr. Lindsay Ogle. I'm a board certified family medicine and obesity medicine physician. And I went into medicine because I wanted to help people achieve and maintain their health and live longer and better lives. And that initially took me into primary care.
Mhm.
And then while I was working in primary care, I was lucky enough to do a rotation with an obesity medicine specialist who really introduced me to the field. And that's where I saw that in that field of medicine, patients were actually feeling better and their chronic conditions were improving and they were able to get off of so many medications. And I just fell in love with it, and I thought that it aligned really with what my goal was, so I pursued that additional training. And now I practice via telehealth, and manage patients all throughout the state of Missouri, with Missouri Metabolic Health. I also try to spread some accurate information on social media, on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, and doing podcasts like this. That's another passion of mine, is just to yeah, spread
Yeah.
some accurate information, because there's a lot of misinformation out there as well.
Oh,
Truly,
yes.
truly.
For sure. And I would tell you when we started this podcast 2 years ago, it was worse. You know?
Yeah.
I
No
want
man's land.
to, dig into a lot of the things that we just talked about. The first question is, our bodies can be surprisingly stubborn when it comes to losing weight. So can you explain, some of the ways that our bodies resist weight loss, even, as we're trying to on the medicine or off the medicine, how they're always trying to like regain, like why that is, and what are the ways, like how is it doing that? I think it would be cool if we understood that on a GLP-1 and off a GLP-1.
Yeah, so our bodies are trying to protect us, and it really thinks when we're losing weight that something has gone wrong, that we are starving, we're in danger. And so, as we're restricting calories and our body weight is going down, our body, like I said, is trying to protect us. So it's trying to offset that and maintain the weight that it had before. And it's, often described as the weight set point. And it does
Mm,
that by two main ways. And one is increasing our hunger signals and hunger hormones, and also slowing down metabolism. And so the combination of the increased hunger and the slower metabolism when we're losing weight make it extremely difficult to maintain that weight loss once it's occurred, for a long period of time. And that's where these medications can be so powerful. Right now, we don't have anything that really helps with the metabolism portion other than exercise and
yep.
increasing muscle mass. That's the best thing that we have for that. But we have medications that can really help with the hunger component.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am a big, big proponent of muscle, having muscle and muscle and muscle on your body.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
not a soapbox or anything, but when I went to France 2 years ago, all of my friends that were on the trip with me, they all put on like 8 pounds. Sister girl right here lost 3 pounds when I came back home. And I was like, "It was
Wow.
muscle. It's gotta be the muscle."
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
we ate all the cheese and
And the
drank all
lunch.
the rosé. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, and really enjoyed yourself.
In terms of
Anyway.
like your body trying to like fight you to fight you. Like I feel like people would understand. I hear it a lot, Dr. Ogle. I hear people come on that have been on these medicines for a while, and they either got to a goal weight or they got to a good weight, and then they stopped losing for whatever reason. We know there's lots of reasons, and we'll talk about that today. But I hear them say things like, "I've gotten off the wagon and I've gotten off track."
Yeah.
Dr. Ogle, I swear our brain knows that. I swear, like that, and it tells us, like it messes with us. And I heard a dietitian say this, and I actually searched it to make sure it was true. But she was saying like your brain will do everything from like kicking your legs at night to wake you up, right? To make you hungry so that you eat and disturb your sleeping patterns to gain like to regain the weight. Like it pulls out all the stops.
It's
And I
tricky.
think like if people could understand what those stops are, then maybe they could kind of recognize it. Like, oh, if I'm waking up in the middle of the night, maybe I need to eat something before bed and maybe it needs to look like this. Like, do you have any insight around that for people?
Yeah, I heard you mention that sleep, like the feet kicking thing before. I think that was
Yeah.
in another podcast.
Yeah.
And I hadn't heard that particularly, but I have heard studies that show when you're like you're having dedicated exercise,
Mhm.
that your body or your mind does play some of those tricks on you, and where
Yeah.
you're moving less throughout the day. And
Mhm.
so we call it NEAT, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, the just like
Mhm.
walking and
Mm,
pacing,
yeah.
or like switching your foot, or like just like walking around the house or doing chores, that sort of activity
Mhm.
actually accounts for a lot of our calories burned throughout the day. But for people who exercise quite a bit, many of them take like the extra time, and that they are more prone to then, relaxing when they're not exercising rather than
Yeah.
having that
Yeah.
activity throughout the day. So that's one way that I am aware of, that there are
Yeah.
definitely studies on for that. And so I guess just being aware of that and kind of
Mm.
paying attention, like, oh, I had an exercise earlier in the day, or the previous day, and I'm noticing that on later that day or the next day that I'm not being as active.
Mhm.
I'm just taking note of that, and maybe being more like setting alarms on your phone, or just building a routine to where you're getting up and being more physically active throughout the day still.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I'm guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guilty. I have to
And
remind
I
myself
think
to
that,
do it.
like, too,
Yeah.
like, there are times, like, on the meds, like, where I'll just certain weeks I'll have more stress or whatever it is, or maybe I'm going like, I have a period, I still have periods, and my food noise turns up. And it's
Mhm.
it's not anywhere near like it was before, obviously, but, like, I hear it and I panic. So, like, I
Mhm.
think the biggest thing I'm trying to have people, like, understand is there are plenty of things that your body's trying to do, like, scientifically, right, or biologically to fight this
Mhm.
weight loss, and you can't help that. You can't help that. So when people, I think, like, they feel bad. I think that's my concern is, like, they
Yeah.
Mhm.
don't understand, like, your body is, like, not static, you know what I mean? And I just think that, like, if people are aware that not necessarily that they can do anything about it. I
Mhm.
think a part of this has a little bit of acceptance to it. Like, you have a disease, we're treating it, you know, and we're doing what we can. And that I looked up some statistics recently, and apparently, like, people that they had followed on the study, I think they said that, some of them regained, but they only regained like 5%. Like, it was a very
Mhm.
small amount, as compared to the 20 or whatever that they lost. And I thought that was just really interesting because I've gained. And Kat went
Mhm.
through a stage where she gained too. And I
Mhm.
remember one time we talked, I think you said that, like, really, like, 5 and 10 pounds of weight gain throughout your life, that's like normal, right? For like normal people.
Yeah, so that makes me actually think of three things.
Okay.
And so just that last part, the 5 to 10 pounds, I think you're
Mm.
talking about when I mentioned before, instead of having like a goal weight being like one
Mhm.
number on the scale,
Yeah.
it really is like a best weight range that
Yeah.
you fluctuate in between,
Okay.
because weight
Okay.
fluctuations are very normal, and a
Mhm.
lot of it is water weight and based on what we ate that day, or where you are in your menstrual cycle, or travel and exercise that you did. There are so many things at play. And so to think that our bodies are going to have, we talk about the set point, but
Mhm.
just it isn't truly one specific weight that we are every
Okay.
single day. That's not normal. It'll have some
Many people think that.
fluctuation.
I love that you said that. My mom, I talked to her today. She's on, Mounjaro, and she was like,
Oh,
"Well, I went up to 5 milligrams because she's basically kinda near goal," and she goes, "And I lost 2 pounds." And I went, "Okay." And I go, "Do you care?" And she goes, "No." And I was like, "Okay." Like,
Yeah.
because it was 2 pounds, and she had got like, she's having to, like, come to, I think, terms, right, of, like, what does your weight look like maybe the rest of your life or for the next whatever years, you know what I mean?
right.
And I think we do. I hear people constantly obsess about the scale. I've for sure have been there, for sure. But it wasn't
Mhm.
until I got to the point where I was like, "I'm doing everything I can and this is where the scale is," that I was like,
Mhm.
maybe I need to start accepting this and not be looking at the scale all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to come there in
Yeah.
your own time. Because I tell you, when I see Mrs. Clark and she says things or other people say things, I want to be all up in their comments, be like, listen, here's the thing, blah, 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 blah. But I don't want to be like those people who are like telling you all the bad things about GLP-1, right? Because, like, everybody's got to, like, figure this out for themselves, and they have their own body and their own journey. It's not going to be the same as mine, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Complicate, right?
absolutely. And I also was thinking about how you were talking about your experience with, your pregnancy, and having your nurse friend give you, all of that great advice about what is normal sensations and feelings during
Yeah.
pregnancy. And I think that if you have a healthcare, provider or whoever is on your team, somebody to go to when you're having those concerns or questions, and they can let you know that, most of the time that's a normal expectation or a normal thing that's happening, that can go a long way. And so
It
I
does.
just like to highlight the importance of having somebody that you trust on your team that you can turn to.
Yeah, I think that's great. I do think a lot of people are afraid to talk to their doctors, and I think that's not necessarily maybe their obesity specialist, but I think that that's what I've seen. Like just doing this for a couple years on, especially on TikTok. Like our
Mhm.
lives, they're just full of people with all of these questions, right? And they don't talk to the doctor; they come to us first. And I think that it's because they relate to us, right? Because
Right.
we all have obesity. And then I think it's also because, unfortunately, the doctors did not know a lot about this stuff, right? If they're not
Mhm.
specialists, and they don't trust them because they think they'll take them off of it. Hey, Plus Siders. We're so glad that you were able to tune in for part 1 of the episode. Part 2 will be posted next week. We look forward to seeing you then. Have a great week. And remember, you're not alone. It's not your fault.
Want the fastest working GLP-1? For half the price, Roe now offers FDA-approved weight loss injections cheaper, with results you can see faster. Lose 15% of your weight with the formula from Eli Lilly that hits not one, but 2 hormones to curb hunger and nausea. Weight loss faster, confidence higher, price cheaper. See if you qualify at ro.co/TV.
Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together, because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.